Hey, welcome back to educator.com. We're going to talk about integers and the number line. So what are integers? Integers are all positive and negative whole numbers. Now, whole numbers are all numbers that are whole. So no decimals, no fractions. Numbers like 4, 5, 10, 20, 100, right? 0. Those are all whole numbers. So all whole numbers and their opposites, opposites just mean that if I have a whole number like 5, the opposite would be negative 5. So it's basically all whole numbers, because whole numbers are only positive numbers, including 0. So when you say whole numbers and their opposites, integers include numbers, whole numbers, and the negative of the whole numbers. Okay, so positive and negative whole numbers. Okay, so negative 3 is an integer, negative 5 is an integer, and so on. Okay, so if I have a number line right here, this is number line, and I'm going to make that 0 right in the middle. Then all of my numbers to the right of it are going to become positive. So if this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. See, this is. This right here then, on the other side of 0, are negative numbers. So this one's going to start off at negative 1, negative 2, and so on. Okay, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, negative 6, negative 7, negative 8. So it's going to keep going. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, negative 6, negative 7, negative 8. Right there. Okay. So this is a number line that includes positive numbers and negative numbers. Okay. So the opposite of 8 is going to be negative 8. Okay, but all of these together are called integers. Now, absolute value is the distance, the number's distance from 0. Okay, distance from 0. So if I ask you, what is the absolute value of 3? How many units, or how far away is 3 from 0? Okay, well, if it's 0 right here and 3 is right here, the absolute value of 3 will be 3. Okay, it's 3 units away from 0. If I ask you the absolute value of negative 3, the distance away from 0 is going to be 3. So distance, we know, cannot be a negative number. So whenever they're asking for a distance, make sure that the number is a positive number. So in this case, when I ask for absolute value of a number, whether it's positive or negative, it's going to have to be positive. So this is how you would write it. Absolute value of x, you're going to write kind of like a 1, but make sure it's a little bit longer, and then you're going to write the number inside. Okay, so 2 bars, in between 2 bars, and then the number inside. So this is the absolute value of x. So if I ask you what the absolute value of 5 is, okay, then my answer is 5, because it's 5 units away from 0. If I ask you what the absolute value of negative 5 is, well, again, negative 5 is, right here, it's 5 units away from 0. So then this is also 5, right? So it's just asking how far is it from 0, and that's absolute value. So whenever you have an absolute value of a number, you're just taking the positive of it, okay? You're making it positive. Let's go over a few examples. So let's compare the integers, 3 and negative 5. I just want to see, or I just want to know which one is bigger than the other, okay? So 3 and negative 5. Now, negatives are very small, right? Positive numbers I know are bigger than negative numbers. So if you have the number line again, your number line, as the numbers go to the right, they become bigger, right? So this way is bigger. And then if the numbers go this way, then it gets smaller. Okay? So positive numbers are big, negative numbers are small. If one number is positive and one number is negative, I know, and by the way, this doesn't have a plus sign in front of it to show that it's positive, but if there's no negative sign, then that means it's positive. Okay, so positive 3 and negative 5, I know that positive 3 is greater no matter what these numbers are, because this is negative. This is positive and this is negative. And positive numbers are always greater than negative numbers, right? So on the next one, negative 2 and negative 4. Now they're both negative, but I want to see which one's greater, which one's bigger and which one's smaller. So if I make this 0, then here's negative 2 and here's negative 4, right? Because it goes negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4. Remember, the numbers that go this way, that are on the right side of it, are bigger, and the numbers that are on the left side are smaller. So negative 2 is on the right side, it's closer to 0 or to the positive side than negative 4 is. So I know negative 2 is bigger than negative 4. Okay, so in this case, negative 2 is greater than negative 4. You can also think of this as money. If you want to think of it, think of it that way, you can. So negative 2 means that maybe you owe money. Okay, so a negative, you either owe $2 or you can owe $4. So you know that owing $4 is worse than owing $2, right? If you owe $2, then that means that you have more value, or that it's bigger because you owe less, because the more you owe, the worse it is, right? So negative 2 is going to be bigger than negative 4. Okay? 10 and negative 10. 10 is positive 10, and this is negative 10. Automatically, 10 is greater because this is positive and this is negative. Okay? I'd rather have $10 than owe $10, right? Okay. The next one, this is positive, so it's positive 8.5 and negative 8.9. Now don't get confused with these numbers, because just look at the signs. This is a positive number and this is a negative number, so I know that this number is bigger. Now what if I make this number negative? Negative 8.5 and negative 8.9. Well, which one is, let's see, let me draw this up a little bit bigger. So if I have a number line, if I make this 0 right here, so here's negative 8, and here's negative 9. Now I know that both numbers are going to be in between negative 8 and negative 9. So which one is closer to negative 9, which one's closer to negative 8? So negative 8.5 would be right in the middle of negative 8 and negative 9. And negative 8.9 is actually very close to negative 9 right here, right? So this number of negative 8.5 would be greater because it's closer to the right. Okay, it's on the bigger side. So this is going to be greater than negative 8.9. Okay? Write an integer to represent each. So 200 feet below sea level. Now this is the key word here, below. If it's below, then I know it's going to go negative. If it goes above, then it's positive. So 200 feet below sea level is going to become negative 200 feet, or negative 200. Okay, I don't have to write the feet actually, because it's just run an integer. A gain of 30 yards. If you're gaining something, then it's a positive value. So here's the keyword, gain. So that's positive 30. The next one, a decrease of 100 points. Decrease, the keyword, means, right, you're losing it. Increase means you're gaining. So decrease would be negative 100. And then 12 degrees below 0, below. So it's going to become negative 12 degrees. Okay. Write the opposite integer. Okay, remember we talked about opposites, how if you have a number line, then it's going to be on the other side of 0. So the opposite of negative 3 is going to become positive 3. Or I can just write 3. Positive 94, the opposite is going to become negative 94. Negative 50, so positive 50 is the opposite. And then, again, this doesn't have a plus sign in front of it, but I know it's a positive because numbers can only be positive or negative. And there's no negative sign, so then it has to be positive. So this is negative 48. Okay. All right, the fourth example, find the absolute value of these numbers. Absolute value, remember again, was the distance from 0. So how far away is that number from 0? And distance, if I'm asking you how far away something is, we know we can't have a negative number, right? We have to have a positive number. Distance can only be positive. So the absolute value of 45 is 45. 45 units away from 0. Okay, so then positive 98, 98, positive absolute value of 10 is going to become 10. And here, the absolute value of 726 is 726. Now, if I have the absolute value of negative 10, okay? So on the number line, negative 10 is to the left of 0. It's on the negative side. But again, if I'm asking you how far away negative 10 is from 0, then it's just 10, right? Because it's 10 spaces away from 0, right? Whether it's to the right or to the left, it's still 10 units, 10 spaces. So if I have an absolute value of a negative number, again, then it becomes positive, okay? We can never have a negative distance. So even if you find the absolute value of a negative number, then it's still going to be positive, okay, because you're just finding the distance. That's it. Okay, so that is it for this lesson on absolute value and introducing integers. Thank you for watching educator.com.